Your eyes all into one, he's the best. He's the best man.
Everybody will come in and we're taking the valuable time and see something that we're trying to produce, and I'm thankful. I'm glad you showed up, and you can ask us whatever you choose to ask us, and we'll have an answer.
Question, first of all, I'd like to say is it's very inspirational seeing your story and how far you've come and everything that you've achieved despite the hardships faced for African people in the USA during that time, and how far we've come today. I just want to ask what message you've got for the youth that are struggling like you were during those times in your family for us today in England, and how we can take it to that kind of level, you know, and even though we're still suffering racism, how we can get past it.
Yeah, it's a very difficult time right now. That question is very difficult to answer because of the things that are going on in the country right now, and they're not going to get better, they're going to get worse. That dims the minds of the young kids that's wanting to do things and thinking about doing things. Our particular situation was we were just so ingrained to play football, we just overlooked a lot of things that happened to us growing up because of just the love of one. And that's all we did every day. We neglected sometimes emptying trash and garbage and doing chores that our mother asked us to do. And these kids today, man, they'll come out the womb, they're just different. You know, but regardless of whether they come out the womb or some other kind of way, they have to, you know, study, listen to their parents, seek other alternatives like maybe church or different kind of meetings and things like that. We try to go to organizations and teach kids as best we can and as often as we can.
You know, like a personal experience for me is like trying to get my parents to understand what hip-hop is and the impact hip-hop is having in my life and people around me, and they kind of don't quite get it, and it's a bit difficult seeing how you introduced your parents to Malik Farrakhan and how that was similar. So yeah, that's probably another thing I'd like to touch on. How would you approach maintaining that respect with your parents, but introducing them to something new with the new generation, you know?
Well, both of my parents were professional athletes. You know, that was a big edge. You know, my father played football, my mother played for softball, my sister she just liked to dance and take care of children. You know, she does that to this day. She doesn't dance a lot, but she takes care of a lot of people's children. And my mother didn't know a lot about football. You know, she would come to the games and see us running down the field, and she'd say, "Hell, turn around and go the other way if he's chasing you, baby." So she didn't know too much about ball, but our father played with Barry Mountain, the gentleman you saw here at the end of the picture, number 76. So we had good guidance like that. He would make us go out and push a train that weighs 35 tons. And mentally, in our minds, he would come back the following day and he'd mark a chalk on the rail, telling us how far we had pushed this 35-ton train. And mentally, it worked. You know, it worked.
Those are the greatest attributes when we're actually been touring the road together for 20-some-odd years. It's actually 28 years a group has been in effect. So when you talk about hip-hop, it depends on where you're at. Here we are in London, smack dab, middle of the UK. We call it a rebel base. And then here's the United States. Those are two countries. The difference in hip-hop between the United States and Canada is like night and day. So when you talk about hip-hop, what country vantage point are you talking from? If you're in France, you're going to talk about French hip-hop. So there's a lot of French hip-hop that's going on that might talk about, it might mimic the United States, it might just talk about its own indigenous value, how it's connected into Africa just by lineage, whether it be Cameroon, Mali, Senegal, and French-speaking nations. One thing about the English and the French, historically, because they had rivalry between the two close take over the world type countries, the English historically ain't trying to speak no French, and the French ain't trying to speak no English. So therefore, you have a lot of French rappers who are heard in French-speaking nations. They don't know a speck of English, nor are they trying to. So when you talk about hip-hop, hip-hop is a lot of different categories and niches that go beyond what you just think that's in your home turf area. It's beyond the United States and the UK 100-fold. If you go down to Senegal and you don't know French as a language, and they're doing hip hop, then that's not their fault. It's your fault because you don't know the language. So hip hop's in so many different languages. We learned a bit from Reda when he actually came from Morocco to Sardinia. Did you come up to Sardinia? You came to Bologna.
Yeah.
You came up to Bologna, Italy, which is another big fan base of Public Enemy, and they speak Italiano. So maybe English, maybe not, but it's still hip hop. And is it actually reflecting, you know, what's going on by Drake or somebody like that? No, it's what it is in Italy, which might be Africa Bambaataa, it might be Public Enemy, it might be Method Man, and then they put it in their own way. And then everybody speaks English, but that's not fucking true. And then once you come outside of your own head and realize that there's a planet, you'll realize that there's a planet of hip hop that's bigger than you think. And Public Enemy has gone to 101 countries. Well, 100 countries have been on 101 tours for a reason. Because we knew we couldn't plant down and be the United States artists. And we knew that although London has always been our base, and when we understand when we made Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, we had the crowd in London represent to go back to the United States saying, yo, this is what's going on over here. Y'all ain't on it, and that's what made the United States get on it, because they felt that, shit, I must be missing something. So they asked the question about, yo, they be listening to rap over there? The United States didn't have a clue because, you know, they into what they do and not looking anywhere else. Selling today. Okay, the gateway out of the ghetto, out of the hood. It's like, okay, make it in sports. He did that. That was the first thing. Get in music or films or in the movies. Well, he did that. Well, what are you going to do as far as giving back to your community and taking an activist conscious stand? He does that. So he's a great standard to look at from another era to say this has already been done before you call Jamie Foxx a total package, or you called Puffy Combs the total package. You know, this was done before, and he took got a lot of scars in his history to learn from, and also he's got a lot of guidance that we pay attention to. But hey, what do you say, Reda?
Assalamu alaikum.
But yeah, that's that on the hip hop question.
This is a point, since you're French, I know that in Paris, French, actually there's this big exposition about called hip hop from the Bronx to the Arab world, and it's led by Akhenaton, which is the leader, founder, pioneer of French hip hop. I am. So it's a big challenge to talk about it, but the fact is that it's global. It's like check these sayings. It's just global. You have some good things and you have bad things, like food, you know. And but what is important and clear right now is that it's a big medium. Yes, there is a lot of business on it, but it's still big medium, and yeah, for speechless people, because you know every
split people up and categorize it. But music, especially when hip hop comes into play, brings everybody together with an equal accord, with a conversation that's truthful, but not aside all the stereotypes and the bullshit. So that's how we come together, because we know that's the eyes on that particular prize. And so we say, even if we have our differences, and like we've had differences, of course we have, like any human being. You know, the easiest thing for a human being when they have differences with somebody else is just to walk away and go solo, go by themselves in a corner and pout and then talk bad. But we're all dealt with each other. And Malik has always been a great voice of reason in the middle of all that. We live in 8 different parts of the United States too, so when we come together, you know, it's like, hey, how you been doing? You know, people got families, their grandparents, and you know, I mean, everybody got their own reality. So to come out of your reality and do this as a reality that takes over it requires something where your eyes always got to be on the prize. And our prize is to provide service with what we do.
Ciao, babe. Be safe. Nice meeting you. Nice to meet you too.